Stan Gibilisco here, coming at you from the Black Hills of South Dakota. Proprietor and operator of the website sciencewriter.net. What I'd like to discuss in this video is the use of surge protectors, better known as transient suppressors, or more appropriately known as transient suppressors. You'll buy them in a store and they'll call it a surge protector. Well, first of all, it's not really a surge that you're protecting against, and certainly the protector does not protect the surge. What it really is something known as a transient spike of voltage on your power line. And I suspect that at least 2 of my computers have recently been wrecked by transient spikes. So a transient suppressor does just what you might think it does. It suppresses these transients. So instead of your 60 hertz voltage containing these spikes, which it always will, you get a much cleaner wave. So here's how I have my arrangement set up right now. What I have at the heart of this entire system is an uninterruptible power supply, or UPS. That is a device that you should always have in a computer workstation. It also goes to my ham radios. So in fact, the UPS goes to 3 different places. Ham radio, one computer workstation, PC, we'll just call it PC, and a second computer workstation, or PC. Actually, there are 3 computer workstations. One in the ham radio shack itself, also known as the Nerd Cave. Another one in my main level office, and another one in my attic office where I am right now. The one in the main level office also has the modem and the wireless router. They all go to this big uninterruptible power supply, which is connected to a large battery. It has an AC input, so the AC utility comes in. But if for some reason the AC utility fails, the backup battery will provide the necessary power, and that backup battery is comprises 2 automotive batteries connected in series that supplies roughly 25 volts at a good number of amperes for this uninterruptible power supply. Now, where do I put my transient suppressors, or surge protectors? Well, up here in the attic, we have a PC workstation, and I put a transient suppressor right here. It actually comes out of the uninterruptible power supply, which had its own transient suppressor built in, but it's a good 7 or 8 years old, and I don't know if that transient suppressor even works anymore. But we've got another one going up here, so we have a transient suppressor. I guess we'll just call it a TS right there. Then there is another transient suppressor right here where the AC utility comes in, which protects then the ham radio, this computer, technically this computer workstation too, but I put in, instead of a power brick, I put in a transient suppressor here because this particular cord going from the uninterruptible power supply in the basement to the attic is a long cord indeed. It's probably 40 or 50 feet, and a nearby lightning strike might actually induce a transient in this line, even if that transient suppressor is functioning. Now, in the event that there is a power failure, this uninterruptible power supply will provide power. However, only for a few minutes. What I have instead, in order to get power, is a generator, a backup generator, which wires in through a switch, and that switch actually comes after this transient suppressor. So we've got a switch here that switches the generator in should the power fail, and another switch here which I switch the... Actually, what I do is I unplug the power cord from the AC utility box and plug it into the generator to avoid any possibility of backfeed into the utility system from the generator. You definitely want to avoid that. So this is my particular arrangement, and I have been a little bit skittish. You'll notice here that there, along this path right here as the AC utility comes in, there are two transient suppressors in cascade. I have found that that does not appear to cause a problem. Even when the uninterruptible power supply kicks in, if the AC utility fails for whatever reason, you get a break in that input there, power failure, whatever, this uninterruptible power supply will kick in and produce a wave that has a... it's a synthesized sine wave that works by means of a power inverter, something called an inverter, which changes this 25 volts into 117 volts AC for all this stuff. Even with that inverter, there's been some talk about a transient suppressor following an inverter causing problems. I used to believe that, but I haven't seen any evidence of it. At this point, it seems to work just fine. So if it works, don't fix it. Don't fix what's not broken, right? Or don't break what's already fixed. So with that, I will sign off. I've yammered at you long enough. Until next time, hope you learn a little something here. This is sort of the arrangement I have. It's very important to have these transient suppressor devices installed. Very important. I suspect that 2 computers met their deaths recently because of transients. So they are a real threat. Stan Gibilisco signing off until next time. So long.